Hi and welcome. My name is Susan Knof and I am the creative director and owner of Knof Design, a global design firm focusing on high-end residential properties and products. So today we are going to learn how to create professional design floor plans using Morpholio Trace. I think the most important parts of the design process, especially the conceptual, creative, initial design process, is getting started. Getting started and staying motivated. Your creative energy is completely contagious, and so we want to keep that energy alive, especially in the beginning part of the project. Imagine you just want a new project. You're excited, the clients are excited, and they want to see everything, but you got to get back to your computer. You need to draft it up in CAD. You need to get precise measurements. It's a laborious process, and there's definitely a time and place for that, but not early on. We want the creative energy and the excitement to really win the clients over at the start of the process. I think of the conceptual process as the honeymoon phase of a project. So let's have fun. So let's get started. So you've received your Realtor plan. I've already imported it here into Morpholio Trace. And what we're going to do is we are going to start on the existing conditions plan. So what I like to do is set up a layer. I use the technical pen here. I use it in a black, and I set my pen weights to 3.2 for the existing walls, and then I used 1.6 for the doors and windows. So I've already done that here just to save us a little bit of time, so you can see it's just a matter of simply getting your outline ready for your drawing, okay? So now that we have that, we are going to start to poché the structural walls. When in doubt, I always create another layer. I just think it's important because if you mess up or if you want to change anything. So let's bring that paper opacity down. We've got the layer started. And then I like to use a nice neutral dark gray here. This Poché fill, which is actually quite fun. So we can do that by setting it here. We want to take that, get it in our zone, make sure our lines are filled, and voila. So we've got our first little poché. And we're going to do that again. Let's get all our little fills in there. Okay, so we've got a nice great plan to start with. It's all pochéed in. And now our next one is to set scale. I believe this drawing is already set to scale, but I'm going to show you how I did it just so you know. So here's the Realtor plan. We've got these like real rough overall dimensions. So this bedroom here is 13 by 6 by 10 by 10. Let me just see. Up here, we are going to go to scale. We are going to set our scale. And we are going to grab this. And we're going to grab here. And we are going to 13, 6. We are good. All right, now let's check it out. Did it come out to scale? This is where my trust issues always come in, but Morpholio Trace does not disappoint. Look at that, 13.6. Now that my trust issues have been resolved, we will continue. So next thing is I'm going to create a layer to plan the concepts. New layer again. So we're going to plan out how we want this to be. Okay, the first thing I see is this kitchen is crazy. I mean, this is crazy. There's just a lot of corners and angles, and anyone that knows me, I hate chamfers. I think they're lazy way out of design. I quite like how the bedrooms are sequestered to a private kind of quiet area. So let's do that. I think my thought is let's keep this quiet zone. And I'm just walking you through a little bit of my concept design thought process. This is, we're gonna have as the entertaining, a little bit loud, entertaining and communal zone. We like to open things up for a little bit more flow. So an area of opportunity I see for sure is here. This is wonderful because it'll get us this light and this views. I mean, think about this. We've got just this tiny little windows down here. We're here, it's street facing, and we're going to get a lot more of that light coming in. Now that we've kind of gotten a little bit of our zone, so now we've kind of got our concept bubble diagramming down, let's have some fun and get started. So I'm going to turn that layer off for now, just so I can see, and I'm going to duplicate our Poché walls, and I'm going to duplicate our the original plan in case we mess up, but also so that we have our demolition plans, so we know what we're removing and not removing, but we rid of the walls. So we have the backup one, so we know what we're demoing out, but we have this existing one so that we can play with. So I like to keep a set. All right, so here we go. So I already know that Charlie, if you guys have watched any of my YouTube videos, you know she gets very excited about design and likes to speak up from time to time. So I apologize on her behalf. I know I'm going to demo out all this kitchen. I just want to start playing with this new layout, kind of get a little idea of, do I want to break this down a little bit more? What do I want to place in here? And I'm just going to kind of roughly, not super to scale, but just kind of get an idea for the process and the flow here. So I'm just adding some lines to show the light and the views and the flow of the space, and starting to sketch in some preliminary ideas. I mean, this is about a 5x5 square. It's quite a big, chunky, imagine a big, nice marble sort of center island. And now I'm just roughly sketching out some preliminary ideas and concepts here. Now we are going to just make them a little bit more real. So now that we have those, we've got an idea and stuff, we're going to have to measure, and we're going to have to use a little bit more detail here. But I've got the idea down. I kind of know where I want everything to go, and now is the fun part. Okay, so we know that our counter depth for the refrigerator is going to be about 30 inches. Okay, so we're going to use that and start to measure out our areas. 3.5 feet spacing from the counter until our large overscaled island. We'll leave about that. Maybe this is a bit more of our circulation. So we have about 3.5. That going, and we're going to want this alignment, I think. So we'll bring that up to about here. And I like that this is intentionally overscaled. So now I'm adding in more kitchen detail, cabinetry, sink, range, dashed lines for overhead counters and overhangs. So we've started to get a preliminary layout of the kitchen. I'm noticing this is going to be a pinch point here and too tight. So we have an opportunity to either push this back, but then I think we have a little excess space. So I'm going to delete this guy out. Okay, so now we want to start adding some more furniture. And the best part is that I've created some stencils that are all downloadable on my website. And if you have purchased them, you will have a nice, fun set of anything from plants to indoor furniture, and you can have a little bit of a play around with them for this living room. All right, so I am gonna go, I think we'll do about a 2-person. So what you could do here is you want to scale out the depth on here. So these sofas are about 36, 38, they can range, but they're about 36 inches deep. So let's do that and see how this comes into play. Just I'm bringing it down because I want to see how it fits in here. Handy Knof stencils. We can either do the fill, because we have quite a few options on here. I'm just going to marker it in. Need some bar stools. Let's see if I have some of those. We can use these ones. Got these fun mixture of different size tables that are quite fun in an irregularly spaced room. So I'm gonna do that here. Those look great. Okay, so we're gonna put a dining table in here now. We've grabbed this from our stencils, and we know that an 8-person dining table can be anywhere between, we want one with a little bit of spacing. So it can really be about 7 feet, 7.5 feet. So let's get the center of our room. I have the 8-person table. I think we've got plenty more room to make it larger than here. We know an 8-person is about a 40-inch wide, so I've dimensioned that out to be 40 inches. So I am gonna fill it, copied and pasted in other areas, is we can clip out a portion and extend it. So nice long dining table. We've got extra space, so I'm sort of deciding how I want to play with that area. And this is, a compact apartment, so we want to maximize all the space we have. So these down here, so I think some extra storage. Always need a lot of really wide storage areas. So I'm going to close this room off and give them a whole bunch of extra storage. I start to work on the bedrooms. I kind of move about because sometimes I'm sort of thinking about it as I'm designing. So I kind of let that sit. That's feeling pretty good for me. And then I'm going to move over to the bedrooms, work on them, and then I'll probably head back and get some more enhancements in there, think about lighting and flooring materials, etc. So let's go to the bedroom and see what we can work out here. Back to my fun stencils I've created, which are all ready for purchase and downloadable on my website, which is Knof Design. I am now measuring out a king-size bed and putting the stencil in here and laying out the master bedroom furniture. Go off that layer, get back onto your drawing layer. I am finding the center of the room so that we can place a pendant light fixture in here. I like to indicate our curtains, gives it another layer. And again, it's all about lots and lots of layers. So we've got that bedroom done. Now let's move on to some of the other ones. Like before, I'm finding the center of the wall and adding in bed stencils and bedroom furniture for both of the bedrooms here. A few more line weights just to beefing that up. I'm back in the living room and adding some more furniture in here, like a nice arc lamp to go over the sofa. I'm now adding some chair stencils, and what I like to do is use the Lasso tool again and try to play around with a couple different arrangements and layouts. Nice entry console table. Let's see how much space we have here. We don't want to interrupt the flow, so we'll go down to 30. We'll go to 3 feet. And that's quite a nice place for flowers, and just kind of a great way to greet you when you enter. I think the final steps I want to do are I want to put a little more lighting. I want to label it, and then we can render it, and that's a really fun part too. So let's get going. Create another layer, as always, just to have everything on here, because we'll be able to create several different plans and tell the story and convey the design ideas to the client from this. I have like a secondary glow, like a bright space here, and then you see through this passageway and maybe some more dim lighting. I'm now adding decorative lighting using the Lasso tool to duplicate and move. Preliminary plan, it kind of shows what kind of construction. We can have those conversations with the contractor. We label this, again, a new layer. Oh, I actually do 2 layers when I'm labeling. Kind of the old school traditional blue lines for lettering. Do our blue. Start labeling, start explaining our design. last but not least is our rendering. So again, new layer and rendering and materials. So I'm going to do a new layer for both of those. Just start to add a little bit of texture from the materials. So I am hoping we can just do a really big, primarily wood floor area. I think that would be really nice. Open kitchen, just really make this space feel expansive. We'll probably have some stone in here. Again, wood with area rugs and some stone in the bathrooms. So we just want to indicate a little bit of that texture. I don't totally go nuts, but I do a little bit of the lines. Again, this just, at the end of the day, drawings really are documentations of information. So the more information we can get across early on, the better, because we are going to be able to start to tell contractors the amount of material, what they are. Okay, so with materials, I want to go on a really light layer, like a pretty thin. It's kind of what we see last. I'm just adding subtle lines here to indicate wood flooring. You'll find using the ruler tool is helpful here. Okay, we've got some material, and now, last but not least, we are going to want to add a little bit of render. I don't go nuts on it because it can be overpowering. You know, these are really, it's kind of our initial concept, but what I love about doing it by hand is I'm not really zoned in. You know, with CAD, you can get really micro. I think here I'm just sort of thinking about everything. It feels more fluid for me. But actually, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of thought, and there's a lot of consideration. And this is really just the concept stage. But now you can see how we can take this into CAD. We can start to refine and think about all these different details. You know, the kitchen was an interesting shape. I don't know if this is the best layout, but I like it, and I like that it's open. So this is what this first concept does, and it gets us really excited, gets clients excited. So let's just add that last wash of color, really enhance it. And let's sell this drawing. Okay, so one more layer. Let's also see that I always do some drop shadows. So let's add, we're gonna just do the drop shadow layer here. Let's do a nice gray. I typically do this in the marker. I'm working with 4.3 here. That feels good to me. Let's marker that, let's get that in. So you just wanna be consistent about where you're doing your shadows. Now I am just adding a drop shadow on all of my furniture here. Our drop shadows again, new layer. Let's get some color on there. Doing a nice sort of warm wood. I like the marker because I like how when you go over, you kind of get some extra old school marker type lines, but also kind of is a good way to show that there's variation in wood tone. So it's nice when you get a little bit of that line. So you don't have to be so perfect. I keep the ruler on just to keep it straight. I am just filling in all the wood flooring. Don't worry, I know it looks messy, but we'll come back and fix that up. And I'm just gonna clean it up this way. There's probably other ways of doing this. I don't know. This just feels kind of clean. I can get those straight lines. But I'm always changing and discovering new ways I like to work. So I'm just using the Lasso tool and then deleting out areas to keep it clean where there is walls and furniture. We've cleaned it all up. We've got all the furniture kind of in the blank space area. I just like to go over with an eraser, kind of lower the opacity and just kind of get some of the areas that maybe got a little too extreme, tone them down. Especially if you have kind of light coming in, it's always quite nice to add a little bit of showing that light transmitting through. And that was the whole point of opening this up, right? We wanted to bring, now look at that whole kitchen gets all that light. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, we've got all that. This little window here, probably not gonna do much, but now I've got a little bit of variation here. And our timber's a little more subtle. And then it's up to you, just like how detailed you want this drawing to be. Usually at this conceptual phase is actually pretty detailed. I may not get too fussy with more color. I absolutely see this as a beautiful marble element and accent, maybe some of that carrying out through here. I could add that, but I don't want to overpower the rest of the drawing. So I think I'm going to leave it as is. Another fun thing I like to do is to communicate a little bit of why we made these design decisions. So remember those lines early on, and then all of these on different layers you can turn on and off as you wish when you use them. But I like to indicate
our light and views. We can now turn on and off our layers and show our clients the process, from our bubble diagrams to our schematics, early initial design concepts, sketches, pre-planning, down to our clean floor plan and our final plan with a nice render on it. Showing our process from the basic Realtor plan all the way through to our final rendered plan.
Congratulations, you've just completed our tutorial on how to create professional design floor plans using Morpholio Trace. So just a quick recap here. First we took our existing floor plan and we created a new layer to draw the existing floor plan, both the external and internal walls. Once we were done with that, we set the scale, and then we just took a look at and assessed the floor plan. We looked at the overall layout and found the positives of a new layout, and then start bubble diagramming. Next, we use some rapid sketching techniques to plan out a new layout to see what feels and works best. After that, we demoed out anything that we weren't going to use in our new floor plans, and then we started measuring and putting new layouts into scale. After the walls and joinery are in place, we added furniture arrangements. Don't forget, we have lots of custom stencils on knofdesign.com that you can download. After the stencils of the furniture, we added materials using a light pen weight, and then drop shadows for all of our furniture. And then we had fun rendering the plan. We used a marker tool for that. Then it was all about adding lettering and some flow, some arrows to show some lights and views. And now it's time to present to the client. So thank you again so much for taking part in this session. We're always excited to see what you create. So we encourage you to share your creations with us in the Sketching Retreat Facebook group. And on Instagram, you could find us at Knof Design. That's Knof Design. So be sure to tag us, and you can use the hashtag profknof. Once again, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and of course our website. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter via the link under this video so that you will be the first to find out about new tutorials, articles, and updates. Thank you again, and we can't wait to see what you create and share. Thank you.